Happy Saturday, everyone. It is the pregame show brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. I'm Texas Homer, joined by my friends, Coach Dub and Lando. Arkansas game, restoring the rivalry of the past. They're coming down to DKR. It's going to be exciting. They have a really potent offense, and the opposite over on the defensive side. So potential for a fun game. Well, I don't know if we would classify it as fun, but maybe a closer game than we could imagine, but also go the other way too. So we're going to chat about all of that. But first, I want you guys to head over to InsideTexas.com. You can get your first week for just $1 for new members. Great community, funny, intelligent, actual good conversation, not just strange posts that mean nothing. And then our writers over there are top-notch guys, recruiting, team news, analysis, all of that. We'd love to see you over there. $1 for your first week. Gentlemen's been a little bit of a rocky road.
Yeah.
But the cool part, if I'm looking at the bright side, is like every game legit matters now. So you can get, and of course you love Arkansas because it's a rivalry, but every game legitimately matters. So you got to kind of dive in a little deeper than whenever you have your wiggle room. There's no wiggle room. And then Arkansas, they're not going to come and play around. People say Arkansas fans are like really mean. And I just got to take the word for it. When I was up in Arkansas, it was after they had beat the hell out of us when we joined the SEC. They were actually pretty friendly because I wear UT shirts everywhere I go, and I don't even realize it. And so they were actually pretty nice to me, but I think they were feeling pretty good about themselves. But I'm excited for them to come down. We're going to go through the offensive keys, the defensive keys, all of that. But just kind of talking about the outside, the TMZ side of this game, guys. How are you feeling about Texas versus Arkansas?
Go ahead, Coach.
Man, you know what? Like, this rivalry has been a part of my family for a long time. My uncle actually played for Lou Holtz in Arkansas. Got to see him versus Eric Metcalf back in the day. Like, it's always a thing. I already got a text this morning, like, we're beating up on Horns. I just want you to know that. So it's like, for me, the rivalry still holds true just because it's in my family. But, man, about today's game, I said this before, I do not want to get in a shootout with Arkansas. I don't feel good about it. I think my prediction was 41-40, when I picked earlier this week. And so, yeah, we don't want to get in a shootout with these guys because, if they take advantage of some of our weaknesses in the secondary or our defense period, man, which they can, we can be in trouble, right? And I know everybody's talking about the magnitude of this game. You don't have a chance to slip up. I don't want our guys to press and start worrying about every play has to be perfect. Every play has to be spot on or we're going to get beat. Like, you still got to play the game. Let's let the Florida game kind of come to you. Don't get out there pressing, trying to do too much because then that's how you really get beaten. So the pressure's on us, but let's see how we perform under pressure.
Just play hard, man. That's where I'm at really at the end of the day because I've seen there's a bit of polarization on the board, I guess I would say, where you got some suggesting that it was a letdown game, which it was, and then other people suggesting that effort shouldn't come into question for a team like this in this situation, right? Like if we're having effort problems in year number 5, we got bigger issues than we even think. And I just want to make sure that we acknowledge the human element, like the reality of the magnitude of that game last week in Georgia, what that meant for this team, especially considering what ensued last year. The implications as far as playoffs are concerned, which still technically not out of the question, but that's a letdown performance to be in that fight 14-10 at the start of the fourth quarter, for it to end the way that it did after everything that led up until that and into that matchup from years prior and up in the roller coaster of this season. These are kids and these are human beings that are also kids that laid it all out there on the line last weekend, whether we like to admit that or not. It was an ugly final outcome, but it was really one specific decision that swung everything, right? Otherwise, it's a 4-point contest. And so for me, man, I'm just thinking I just want to see effort because that does matter. Like at the end of the day, if they go out there and they're playing hard, they're going to have a really good chance to win this football game, and then we'll go from there. But then the other thing that I wanted to mention too is I've noticed just ESPN specifically. I haven't been on other lines or anything like that, but the point total. I know a lot of people are expecting a high scoring affair from both sides. That point total is only 47.5 last I checked. That seemed crazy to me. But then also too, the line keeps dropping in favor of Arkansas. So Texas was 10.5 at one point. It's all the way down to 8.5 as of 5-10 minutes ago, whenever it was. So just those are my interim thoughts right there. But effort is the main thing that I'm looking for today because that does come into play, whether we want to acknowledge that or not.
Well, I think too the over/under on score that Texas is 135th in the country in penalties. Arkansas is 107th. Arkansas is 136th in luck. They experience a lot of turnovers. They're 110th in fumbles per game, 75th in interceptions. So there's also this thing where both teams could break their offenses so easily that it ends
Sure.
up in this, because a shootout generally means that both teams are kind of clicking and humming, right?
Right.
On the offensive side, I think they're trying to bet a little bit that like neither one of these teams are known for just absolutely clicking. So that's something too that maybe could bring the point total down, that it could just be sloppy as well and kind of bounce the ball back and forth.
Yeah.
Should Texas have a spring game? 1,000%. Just as a fan, and definitely doing analysis, that was whack. But the whole thing this year is like, we're a playoff team, so we don't want the wear and tear. It's like, well, great. So now we just screwed the fans and didn't even get the back end reward. So it's just like loss across the way. And my thing is, like, look, you're doing these scrimmages on the opening Saturdays. The real reason you're doing it is you don't want to showcase your players to get poached.
Right.
But that's changing now, right? And so that's really the strategy behind it, because you should absolutely have a spring game. You should pay your fans back like that. Even if for anything else, you should pay your fans back like that, and let them see that and have that. I think it's a horrible decision. I hope they get rid of it across the sport. And even up the ante and turn it into a scrimmage. Like, hey, come down, UTEP. Like, let's have a scrimmage. Like, we should even go further with the concept.
I would love that.
Absolutely hated that decision. I think it's horrible for the sport. What do you guys think?
It's hard to disagree with that for me. But Coach, you got any other thoughts? Take it away.
No, I like the scrimmage aspect. I think you can really tell about your team that way. Versus in practice, you can get people are going to poach your players regardless. Players are out there screen recording their own film and trying to send down a shot themselves regardless. So it's going to happen. You know what I mean? So you don't prevent anything, but I would love the idea to scrimmage someone else. I think that would be really, really dope. But you could really get an understanding, first, second, and third team, how they actually perform versus other people versus practice, and how they would look in your scheme versus just like your scripted practice plays. So I would love it.
Yeah, bring the spring games back. There's not a question in my mind. I absolutely hate that development in the sport. All right, so let's talk first about, well, y'all choose your show. Do you guys want to talk about our defensive game plan or our offensive game plan first?
So offense, maybe.
I was gonna say let's start with the ugly, which is, to me, the ugliest is the secondary right now. So we can start there and then.
So what our defense needs to do.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Okay, so these are the first keys of what we want to see and be able to talk through the game. Contain Green in both the run and the scramble. He's one of the highest yards per carry non-running backs out there. And that can come from a scramble, but they do a ton of awesome designed run stuff. They have options, 5 or 6 different types of options that are different looks and going different ways, so the read is not clear. And if you saw, Gunnar Stockton's big run versus us, and if you remember, Poppy had the same run, but remember got called back or something. But he had that one, and then also Mateer at the end of OU got called back too, and he had the same big run. So we've been really bad at defending option well. We'll have Colin Simmons slant inside and go take the back kind of no matter what. That's what Colin Simmons being instructed to do that, nothing on him. Jelani McDonald, whenever they move the formation open and keep Jelani to the boundary by himself, he is repeatedly making the wrong read and filling the wrong gap and giving up the edge. It's happened all year. We've been talking about it on defensive film study. Jelani is so fast and athletic. Sometimes when he's wrong, it doesn't matter. He will fire through the hole and still make the tackle, and fans will go, wow, look at Jelani McDonald. But when you're looking at all 22, he makes a lot of mistakes out there.
Yes.
And it was San Jose State and Sam Houston that got into those formations first and showed everybody, put 4 guys to the wide side of the field, make Jelani fill his gap in the boundary, and they're going to mess it up. Now, of course, versus those worst teams, they couldn't do anything about it. But all the better teams have brought back that exact look. If you start seeing tight end in the line trips to the field, there's no one to the boundary, guess what's coming? And so we have to be able to contain their read. And their read's not just always going to come on the back end. They'll do front side reads. They'll do power. They'll do all sorts of stuff. But it's not just the scramble when we talk about Green. You have to be disciplined in stopping him in their varied run game as well. Any thoughts there, fellas?
You know who the first team I saw do that versus us? The 4th and 1 versus Ohio State last year in the playoff game on the QB power, same formation look. And we didn't play it. We didn't line up right. There's nobody left in the boundary side. And, he tripped and fell. But you do that against Taylor Green, it's going to be a touchdown. So we got some, defensive scheme issues that we really need to fix. But, man, we got to fix communication. Like, that has to be number one. They need to be the loudest people on the field today. Know who has what zone, what man, whatever the case may be, and then fit the gaps. Don't rely on your athleticism. I know we talked about before the show, but don't rely on your athleticism. Use your technique. Read your actual keys. You can't just fly around like it's Pee Wee football and say, I'm in high school, I'm just going to go make a play because I'm better than everybody. It doesn't work that way at the college level or anything above high school. And so these guys really need to be dialed in, read their keys, and to perform. You're not going to be the guy to make the tackle all the time. That's okay. Be the guy to go blow up the blocks so your teammate can make the tackle. I think a lot of time we're playing for ourselves individually versus playing team defense, which we did a lot last year. We played great team defense. It didn't matter. It wasn't about me. It seems like now this year everybody just wants to make the play. And sometimes it's not made for you to make the play. Make a play so your teammate can make a play. And so I think that's what they need to improve on today.
Yeah, a little too focused on getting NFL tape with some of these guys, and they need to play as a total defense because we're getting gashed repeatedly in the run and the pass. So I structured this get pressure. I want to skip and go to slow run game first because it'll make more sense. So
that concept to me, Homer, real quick, that bothers me big time. Just the whole – I understand, philosophically speaking, what they're trying to accomplish with that and getting guys to the league because that is – part of a recruiting effort that has served Texas well, and they have put guys into the league as best as anybody else in the entire country the last 2 cycles especially. But, man, can we just – so much of that, it's almost trying to put the carriage before the horse, you know what I mean? Like, if you do your job and that means everybody, relying and trusting everybody else to do theirs, you're playing better, sound, run fit responsibilities or just team defense, team football. The product at the end of the day improves. W's get put into the W column.
NFL watches more.
And then, yeah, exactly. And then the rest takes care of itself. We got to stop. Like that frustrates me personally. I just wanted to put that thought out there. And that's the second question that I had was what is it in you guys' mind that makes it difficult like the formation that we were discussing a minute ago, Jelani fitting the run from the weak boundary side of the formation. Why is that more difficult for him?
I don't know, because I don't know, because he repeatedly keeps shooting this interior gap, and sometimes that is his gap, but in that situation, it's not. And so what they're doing is they're isolating. Jed puts it this way. How we play cover 3, we leave a safety responsible for that spot. There's situations where you can make a linebacker responsible for that. And their linebackers are better at that. That's their job since they've been in 6th grade. That's a linebacker. But because of how we don't want to get beat in if you leave a linebacker there in some pass game instances, you can match that linebacker up with like a number 3 receiver, and he can get torched for a touchdown.
Right.
So we decide we're going to defend it with a safety because if that number 3 receiver in X formation does go vertical, we can defend it. But the flip side is you're giving up the run game there.
Right. So you're sacrificing the least explosive option.
Yes.
Yeah. In theory.
Yeah. And so you get caught sometimes. But also it's just if you're choosing the wrong gap, it's choosing the wrong gap.
That's what I'm saying. I still don't understand why that specific role in that specific instance is complicated because it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
But you also, if you're a football player and you're playing team defense,
yes.
If I see my player hit the wrong gap, I'm going to cover him and then take his gap. A lot of times we're just hitting the same gap. It's like, it's like having an IQ. My player may have busted the play wrong and hit the wrong gap, but I'm just going to cross and then I'm going to contain and be the outside guy. A lot of times they just don't have the IQ. Like last year, Makuba guys, they just erased a lot of that. Like you can bust in front of me, I'm just going to cover for you. And a lot of times we just don't have that this year. Guys, if I have the A gap, you hit the A gap, I'm just going to follow you behind the A gap. It's like, no, where are you going? You got B or C gap. You got to bounce and protect your teammates. And
that's coaching, right? Because at the base level of coaching, they just teach you the what. You're supposed to be B gap.
Right.
But they didn't – good coaching, which we've seen before at Texas, they teach you the principle, like what we're actually trying to do. So when the player does do the thing, you don't just go, well, my job is technically B gap. It's like,
Right.
well, my job should be B gap because we're trying to do this. And if he's in the B gap, therefore, but we don't, there's no therefore yet.
Right.
It's all just, well, I was told to go B gap. And it's like,
exactly.
so it's a coaching issue. And so we'll see that change hopefully. But I've just been in the run and the pass, I've been really not pleased with the coaching there, because a lot of these guys too played last year. I saw them look good and sound, and then this year I don't. There's one variable that changed. Y'all can figure out that variable that changed. You need to slow the run game in tandem with Green because they're really effective. So they are, I think they're 4th in the country right now for yards per rush. Let me make sure that's correct. Yes, Arkansas is 4th in the country in yards per rush. They have Mike Washington, number 4, 6'2", 228, senior. He's a big back. He's 3rd in the league in yards per carry. Braylon Russell, who's been dealing with kind of some injury stuff, also 6'1", 238. So they have some real size at running back on top of Talon Green. So this is a good rushing offense with talented players and a talented rushing quarterback. So
lunch pail type of game.
Yeah,
couple bruising bodies there behind the line of scrimmage, and then that's also paired with the trifecta, which in this case is a 6'5", 240-pound quarterback.
Yeah, it looks like Vince when he's in the open field.
And he can run. I'm telling you,
Boy, it's long.
Yeah.
Yep.
So slow the run game, man. Because if they get that going, and of course they're going to utilize that, because we've seen it. Really, Florida and Georgia attacked us vertically. We're not scared of you. We're moving forward, and they both found success. If you step back or give quarter to the Texas defense and defensive line, they maul you.
Right.
But they're a little different when you step towards them, and I've noticed that. Step at Texas. Do not try to be scared and like solve problem. That's how they get you. Move at them. And Arkansas has the ability to do that. So slow the run game. You're not going to stop it, but slow it and then contain Green. Now this is credit to Paul. Paul has certain stats that he really keys in on quarterbacks, and this is one he found. So Talon Green has been a good passer on his first read. He's been really solid. He's the worst in the SEC on completion rate whenever he gets pressure. It doesn't have to be blitz. It just means pressure. He's completing 34% when pressured. That's a huge factor. So the goal with Green, there's kind of this thing of like, man, he's a run threat. Stay back and watch him. You know, he could get loose. Actually, it's the opposite. You have to bring the heat at Green. If you force Green to a decision, he makes bad decisions.
Right.
But if you let him sit back, especially on his first read, and buy time, he's a really deadly quarterback. Take the fight to Green, even though instinctively you kind of want to, we need to watch him and stand back. That's actually the opposite of the game plan for him.
And that also, that an athletic guy like him playing a passive approach like that is also going to allow them the opportunity to extend plays and force significantly more unconventional windows to deliver from, which minimizes all of the principles and just the responsibilities within each specific defense or call that you have for that particular play. Getting outside the pocket, which a passive approach oftentimes allows for with a guy of his athleticism, that's going to make life difficult, even more so than it already is. So like you said, force a guy who clearly struggles under pressure to make quick decisions. And I think you do that with some aggression. And it's another thing too, like Texas is going to be having to deal with without Anthony Hill today. So there's other things.
Oh, that is very true. I will say this, but it all goes back to stopping the run. If you can stop Arkansas run, make them one-dimensional, you got a better chance. But if you can't, you let Talon Green get some play action, some bootlegs, and read option, man, it's going to be a long day because I don't think there's anybody on our defense can catch him when he's in open field. I'm just going to be completely honest.
Yeah,
he can really open it up and go.
There's very few players in the league that can catch him once he gets up to speed.
Yeah, long strides, man. Too. That's the thing, and he actually gets up to speed rather quickly for his stride. It's pretty quick. I think somebody on the board, I forget who it was, mentioned that obviously Brad Spence earlier in the season was getting reps at off ball, and obviously he's playing some edge and stuff too. They're kind of using him as the Trey Moore 2.0, if you will. just multiple responsibilities given his skill set. But today, especially without Anthony Hill, do you guys expect to see a healthy dose of Brad Spence off ball in conjunction with, and maybe just spelling to Anthony Smith and Leonga Lafau, or what do y'all think about that?
I think it'll be more Trey Moore.
Yeah, well, I know he's going to be a factor as well, but just
I think just because. But I like Brad Spence. Use him how, dude. The problem is like trying to predict PK is a nightmare. Like we're saying, like get pressure. What he's realistically going to do is he's going to drop back and they're going to contain rush Taylon Green.
I feel like we say this every week.
We say this every week. We try to come up with a game plan, and PK just does the same thing. Normally, the past year, it's like I can't argue with it because the defense was awesome. Right. The defense kind of sucks, like comparative to being elite. Like we're just giving up, and so what it'll likely do is just sit people back, leave wide open windows, and then they'll contain rush Green so he doesn't get out of the pocket. It doesn't. First off, he'll get out of the pocket anyways, and then second off, you're just going to give him an easy throw. But I agree. What you should do is mix it up, get your pressure, get your one-on-ones. Contain rush is great, but Texas plays it almost like we're not rushing. We're standing here and waiting. Like you can rush and apply pressure in a container. It just means stay in your lane. That's
with responsibility. Yes.
Yeah. It just means don't overrun and don't get out of your gap. But we don't do it like that. We just kind of stand at the line. So that's, I would love to see Spence. I would love to actually see trying to get after him. Now you lose Hill, who's one of your stronger blitzers, which is tough. But Trey Moore has that ability. Brad Spence. But I would like to put, like I say, it's a famous quote in poker. I think it's Doyle Brunson, but the whole point of poker is to put a man to a decision. And that's whether they get it right or wrong. My job is to put that pressure on you and put you in that moment and see if you're great, you're going to survive. But most people aren't great, right?
Yeah.
But Texas isn't putting people to decisions. They're giving them 50 decisions across and a lot of green grass right now. So that's what kind of freaks me out. Robert asked real quick, Homer, are you implying if we play off coverage by our corners, we lead him to completing his first reads? So it's not even the outside stuff that is a problem. But I'm worried about the inside stuff. They have a tight end and what's his name? Rohan. Let's see. Tight end Rohan Jones. We covered him on film study. He's averaging like 30 yards of reception. And they're just sending him up the seams from inline, no cute motion, no nothing. Inline, straight up the seams, first read, and they're killing people. That's Georgia did that to us. Vandy did that to us. Mississippi State did that to us with slot receivers, not tight ends. That middle of the field is food, dude, and it's food pre-snap, and so that's the problem. Is like it's too easy, man.
And that's with a guy like Anthony Hill out there who has the ability to carry guys up the seam and being able to just run with tight ends and running backs out of the backfield like it's nobody's business. That's pretty alarming.
Yeah,
very.
All right, let's actually run to a quick little ad read from our friends over at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Touchdown! Any gate can be a tailgate.
Keep getting texts. All right. Protect middle of the field. You let me in there. I don't think Hill is great in coverage. Hill is not great in coverage, but still probably better than we have. What Hill can do is what he did versus Georgia, where he was super late to even understand it was a pass and still recovered and got an interception. Hill's an athlete.
It's the athletic ability is what I was getting at there.
Yeah,
not necessarily the grade or the prowess as a pass cover man. That's obviously going to come. Those traits are there. He has the athleticism to make plays like he did last week. That's kind of where I was.
Well, and that was the perfect example that he was really slow to understand it was play action and still recovered and got an interception.
This is true.
That follow-up comment from Victor is hilarious.
Which one? We have
no one great in coverage. That's actually hilarious.
Yeah, we don't.
I would attack anybody in that secondary. I've been saying that since week one. I don't fear anybody in Texas secondary. Attack everybody. Force them to make a play.
Yep. I don't like any of them in man, and I don't like any of them in zone because they're 50 yards off the ball. It's just wide open there. And Paul, I think, brought it. We're giving up like Mac Jones with Sark level yards per attempt in the middle of the field. We're giving up 12 yards per attempt. in the middle of the field. Like Ian's like, that's like if Joe Burrow came back to the college football game. That's how bad we are. I mean, it's horrific. And then on top of that, we're busting. So it's like, and you think Petrino, like Bobo won that game. That was Bobo.
Oh, definitely.
His scheme broke our scheme all the time. Petrino can do the same thing. And I don't know how you get figured out because you're not going to become a quarters defense in week 11, So it's like, I don't know what you got to do, man, but whatever you got to do, because that tight end is going to hit us for like 30 yards a couple of times over the field. A discipline against a varied scheme.
Yeah.
Petrino has a lot of looks and a lot of looks that look like other looks that look like other looks and da-da-da-da-da. And if you're not disciplined, they're going to catch you slipping. And the reason why we had success versus Vandy does the same thing. So does Georgia, but we just out-athleted them. If you remember, it wasn't discipline that beat them. It was that we had Colin Simmons, Ethan Burke, and Anthony Hill in the backfield by the time they could even start their trickery.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we've been playing it. We've been out-athleting, and that's fine if that's what we have to do. But Arkansas has athletes at running back, at quarterback, that kind of stuff too. So we have to play discipline because they're going to test our eyes and try to get us out of gaps and all that stuff. It's not just – this is a veer and shoot offense or this is a running offense. This is a full menu that Petrino breaks out. So it's a basic thing, but man, it matters.
Yeah. It's going to be a lot of eye candy today. Some motions, RPO stuff, people leaking out. Like, we got to be on our P's and Q's. Nobody can be pointing or giving the palms up. Body language afterwards. Like, we have to be on point today.
Well, they like to talk after the play. Talk before the play so you don't have to talk after the play.
Yeah. We're gonna see this at least once today. It's just a matter of when, not necessarily.
Well, it's like they bust and now they want to talk. It drives me nuts. It's like you weren't saying anything pre-snap to stop you from having to do that. You can tell I'm annoyed with the coaching. All right, compliment the offense. We're about to talk about the offense. The defense shutting down Arkansas would be great, but the offense to me is the key here. We'll talk about how bad the Arkansas defense is, but compliment the offense. They need to do a lot of stuff we'll talk about. They need to control the ball, all that stuff. But you can't be giving Arkansas quick scores or anything like that off of these busts. Let's see. They're 28th in explosiveness on just overall. You can't be letting them – we want them to hold the ball enough to where our offense can breathe a little bit, but they can't score in the red zone and they can't get the easy ones.
Can we also just real quick reemphasize that the defense can complement itself with the back end and the front end playing a complementary approach, right? If you're going to send heavy pressure, you better also get into the face of each particular pass catcher or receiver, disrupt timing, and force the quarterback to hold on to the football a half tick longer. You got to give your thoroughbred horses a chance to get home in those types of situations. And I can't stand seeing that. And part of that is me. I'm callous to it too, from watching the Cowboys struggle with it all year long. But I've seen the same exact type of call from PK this year on a handful of different occasions. And it bites Texas to almost every single time. So the offense must complement the defense, but in the same breath, the defense can complement itself. And the same thing is true on the other side of the ball as well. The offense can also complement itself, right? Texas had to stop trying to complement itself with let's just call it what it is, an inept pass protecting unit, trying to dial up deep shots down the field. That's not complementary football. If you've got the receivers to make plays 20 yards down the field, but you don't have the bodies up front to block it up, that's not complementary football if you keep beating your head up against the wall, right? Same thing is true, like we just mentioned, on the defensive side of the ball. So I want to make sure that people are aware that there's a multitude of ways to perceive that complementary style of football that we're talking about here.
Yeah, great point. And what's really frustrating with the Texas defense is you can play this game as a fan, even if you don't understand football. Pause the game before Arkansas snaps the ball and just circle where the space is and see how often the ball goes there.
Yeah.
And it's a lot. And so that's what's driving me nuts with the compliment stuff. It's like we're getting beat by alignment. We're giving it pre-snap. Our leverages are off. Like our corner is playing off when he should be inside leverage, and the quarterback's just reading that. At least drop people into window. Do something, man, because this defense is so easy to read. Like first year studying football, I could beat this defense in passing concepts.
Mhm.
And so that's where it's frustrating because it's not like these guys are even having to do remarkable things to get open. And Petrino's going to take what you give. Most coaches do. We're one of the few teams that don't like to do that for whatever reason. But college is known exactly for knowing kind of where the ball's going pre-snap. Like I said, you give Taylon Green his first read, they're going to score points on you.
Yep.
And so we need something here. And I'm worried about them going, well, A&M's next week. We don't want A&M to see it. Hey, man, this is not a guaranteed win for Texas. You got to win this one.
I agree.
So that's a big factor for me. And I just can't see busts. Like, there's a different thing for me if it's athletes or what, and it shouldn't even be an athlete problem at Texas, but if I'm just seeing somebody get beat because he can't run a 4.3, fine.
Yeah.
But busting, like, we haven't seen this with PK. Like, this is like we gave up 3 touchdowns to Georgia on bust pass plays. Like, we have not seen this. And that's what I have no excuse for. And people get mad at the players because that's who you see bust. That's coaching.
Yeah.
That's coaching 1000%. So I've heard a lot of people, do we have dumb players? It's like, well, were half these players that played last year, were they dumb? No, they looked pretty smart, you know? And so it's like, it's the coaching.
You did also lose. You lost 2. Well, yeah. I mean, Andrew Makuba and Jade Barron, phenomenal athletes, NFL type of athletes, but they're going to have second and third contracts in the National Football League because of the way that this thing works. The old melon process is what's happening in front of them right here. That's why those guys are going to have long careers, highly successful long careers because of the way that they think, at the speed at which they can process what they're seeing and make up for other sorts of deficiencies around them. And so, yeah, that it's a complement of things, but losing 2 guys like that, and then also having certain schematical elements to your defense and certain phases, or even just groups, different rooms from within the defensive side of the football that don't complement each other, like we've all kind of just spent some time discussing. So there's a lot that's got to get cleaned up, and it's not going to happen between now and next weekend.
Yeah, I realized that whenever I was hopping on. No, I mean, literally, they need to compliment the offense. They need to say nice things about
Great
the
job,
offense.
guys.
Yeah, that's what I want them. I didn't mean like compliment, like complete and play complimentary football. I meant that I want them on the sidelines to be saying very nice things.
Homer wants high fives, positive enforcement, and butt slaps. That's what he wants.
Yeah, I want this really nice on the sidelines. But yeah, I had to make this quick before the show, so my bad there.
Real quick too, before we pivot to the other side. We mentioned Joe Burrow earlier. You can flip the screen if you want to. It's a side topic, but we mentioned Joe Burrow earlier. Texas still, because I saw Larry's comment, and I know a lot of people feel that way. They're frustrated, they're fed up, whatever. Yeah. There's rumors and reports circulating that they don't know how to process or weigh. So I get it. I'm not mad at Larry for thinking this way at all. I just wanted to provide maybe a little bit of optimism or insight for you. Texas still has a chance in a down year, right? A down year, to be the first team since the 2019 national champion LSU Joe Burrow squad to beat 3 top 10 teams in the same regular season. Hadn't happened since 2019. In a down year, Steve Sarkisian and company still have a chance to do that. That could be next week. It's Oklahoma at the time, Vandy at the time, and barring something, that's not going to happen, Texas A&M.
Yeah, so, A&M's beating Sanford. I think they're going to be top.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a chance that is the case. And then even beyond that, you take it a step further. This is still a team that's put 23 guys into the National Football League. How many teams in the country, Coach and Homer, have put that amount of players into the NFL in the last 2 cycles?
Michigan, maybe Georgia.
Well, I mean, it's just us. Yeah,
it's one.
Yeah,
and it's Texas, right? How many teams have been in the playoff each of the last 2 years?
Just at Texas.
It's one, and it's Texas. 9-3, and you play the number 1 team in the country, the current number 2 team in the country, the number 6 team in the country, the number 10 team in the country, and then whatever A&M is going to be next weekend. I'm pressing pause, especially with what we know is inevitably coming with hard decisions and discussions, not from Steve Sarkisian and himself. He's got 2 children enrolled in the university as we speak, and a third one that he hopes. So he says, offensive line situation is going to be addressed. The secondary situation is going to be addressed. Clean those 2 things up, and you might be 12-0 instead of 9-3, and then we're having a much different conversation.
Yeah, but you got to get to 9-3. That's not a given. And so it's like
what I'm saying is you can't be done with Sark because we're not done with the season yet. We don't know how this team's going to respond today. And they still have a chance to do something that no other team has done since Joe Burrow in the 2019, arguably the best college football team ever. Arguably, I'm not saying it is. In 2019. That's worth considering at the very least.
Look, if 9-3 ends up being the floor, great.
Right.
But it's the thing with Sark is like this offseason is huge.
Yes,
and so it's like it's huge. And it's
that's what I'm getting at.
I'll know before we even play a snap next season if this is going to work.
Agreed.
And so it's like, because you got last year of Arch, I better not have like a question of like, well, the wide receivers, we think they can be pretty. Now, if there's any, I think, get a wide receiver. You get what I'm saying? Like, if there's any, maybe with project, it's like do what Ohio State is, go all in. This is Arch's last year,
exactly.
Because we can't have next year not going right either, and because then it's Texas world will completely turn. That's just straight up. So to me,
you got to take into account like every other team's going to get better too, to take care of their deficiencies, and they're already better than us. The one thing I want to see improve going into next year is, and that's been a problem since he's been here, you can't rank like dang near the bottom in penalties. Like I don't want to hear it get into the what kind of penalties they are. No, all penalties are bad. Like we commit too many penalties, so I don't want to hear.
That's true. He needs accountability there.
Well, and they're not even. He said there's a difference in penalties, which there are. We don't have a difference. Our stuff's all pre-snap.
And it's been 3 years in a row, by the way.
Yeah, I don't want to hear it anymore. Yeah.
And so it's like even his point was not correct. It'd be different because I get what you're saying. There's like aggression penalties, right? Like personal fouls, right? Like post-snap. Right. And then there's pre-snap. Yeah. Pre-snap are generally your true discipline. And we don't have a difference. It is pre-snap. So it's like you got to figure it out. And there's a part of me that's like, if you knew how to solve it, you would have solved it, right? Like it's been multiple years of this. So that's the part that really does frustrate me. But look, man, if you're out on Sark, in on Sark, whatever, this offseason will determine who was correct. That's all I know.
That's exactly right.
True.
And so that's going to be the big factor. All right, let's take a look at a couple of the offensive points here. So we know the defense has the toughest matchup by a mile. But the offense needs to do their part. They need to complement each other. And this way, not actually being nice to each other, actually meaning, to complete. All right. We need to hit explosives because the Arkansas defense is 116th in the country in passing explosiveness defense. Whether that's Wingo and then their guy misses a tackle and then you go for 80, great. Whether that's Wingo again and he's on a post over their head, great. However you need to get it, hit your explosives. Now, there is some funny part to this, right? Well, you're like, well, if you just hit a bunch of explosives, you're just putting the Texas defense back out there too. Like, Homer, you're kind of creating a recipe for a shootout. Hit explosives, but be smart.
And then, hit explosives and then stall out in the red zone.
Yeah, exactly. And so I understand that I'm not complimenting myself here, but still, I'm just trying to show you guys they're really bad at giving up these explosives. So
we obviously know Texas isn't explosive in the running department. I think as of this past week, now back up to 129.
Yeah,
out of 134, whatever it is. But Texas actually does have a lot of success. They are pretty good hitting explosive in the passing game.
We're 21st passing offense explosivity, 21st solid. We are 127th in the country in rushing explosivity.
127 is insane, man. Wow.
It's
the University of Texas.
I can't believe that.
Yeah.
And a team like that. That's why people are correct. Like both sides are correct. Texas still has it. Like technically. Mathematically, they're not eliminated from the playoffs. That's correct. That's true, in my opinion. But also, what's also true is that this is not a playoff team.
Right.
They are
Right.
very flawed
Right.
on both sides of the football, so it's weird.
Yeah, technically they have a playoff chance. I very few people, of course, we would like to see them in the playoffs as fans, but almost all fans realistically are like, are they deserving of playoffs?
Exactly.
No.
We can have honest discussions with ourselves just by looking at, we don't even have to exacerbate it over the course of beyond just one particular team, a national championship caliber team that they've played. And it is arguably the standard, but that's Georgia. They've got 3 sample sizes to allocate from or to evaluate from the last 2 seasons combined. Texas still 3 games cumulative against Georgia has not eclipsed 90 yards rushing yet total.
It's insane.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, it's insane.
So
Total.
So here I have activate run game. They're 109th in yards per attempt defense. 109th. Texas with a huge advantage. We're 100th rushing offense. So 9 spots better. If they're and this is what I've always said about Wisner and company. They show up once every 4 games. They have a good game, and then everyone goes, see, the backs are not a problem. And then the backs disappear again for 3 or 4 games, and they pop up. Now, I want our groundhog running backs to show up for A&M because if we get one, they're not going to show up again this season. So I maybe don't want a huge game if it means sacrificing a huge game next week. But we should be able to run on them, or any team should be able to run on them. But Texas, probably not. But it can happen because, once again, our rushing offense is not always tied to the defense that we play. OU's a good run defense, and we had a great day. We faced bad rushing defenses, and we haven't done anything. It's a very strange issue over on the rushing side of the ball. But in theory, it's there, and you have a slight advantage. All right, control the clock. This is how you stop the shootout portion of this, which I don't think anybody necessarily wants to get into. Arkansas's defense is 117th in time of possession. So you have the opportunity here. Texas is low in success rate, meaning the ability to move the ball consistently forward, which would make that easy to do. But maybe you have a better game in that regard. What do y'all think?
Go ahead, Coach. I'm over here engaging in the chat box. I'm sorry. I'm in deep.
Yeah, like actually, recruit news was hitting my phone this time. Like we got new.
Let me reiterate.
Popping in.
We need to control the clock because Arkansas is 117th in time of possession on defense, and it avoids a shootout element. But on the flip side, we're low in success rate, meaning we're not a ball control team.
Trying to control the clock on a team that. Us offensively, we need some momentum. We need like positive momentum. Like if you can score, take the score because you don't know what offense you're going to get from week to week either. So we can score 10 to 17 points, trying to take the clock away. That's not our style. We need, and then what? Then Arkansas scoring and they're beating us by 2 scores. Then we're really in trouble. So I think we play better. We got some momentum, some tempo. I think that's who we are. I think that's where they spread everybody out and go tempo. If we try to slow it down and be, this long draw out team, draw the field, we're just not good at it. And I think we lose momentum that way. And our team just doesn't perform that way. So I think that'll put us behind the 8 ball.
What about tempo with shorter execution?
That's a good way. Like high percentage throws is a great way to maintain TOP without having to establish any sort of physical ground and pound effort. I agree with that, Homer.
Yeah, and so it's like,
and
don't get me wrong,
that they can do that as well. So,
if the explosive's there, you need to take it because scoring is not always easy for this offense. I mean, what's our offense in points per game? Let's see, points per game. We're 61st in points per game, so it's not like we're killing it there,
right?
But when I mean control the clock, it's I don't mean 12 personnel grind ball. I mean, quick outs, slants. Now, is that even Sark's really thing? Not really. But my main point is whatever you can do to keep the defense off the field. Because if you look at our defense in pass defense for Texas, we're 113th in the country in facing pass attempts per game. We're getting killed. And we're playing way too many plays. And so that I just don't want us to be on the field. We're 90th overall in plays per game on defense. These guys are getting worn out. So whatever you can do to minimize the risk and mitigate the risk of us kind of collapsing in the fourth quarter, that's what I want to do.
Okay. I mean, I can agree with that one. Yeah, 'cause they are taking a lot of plays. I think we brought that up versus Georgia. Like they're just taking way too many hits. They're taking way too many plays. And after that, it was a 12-minute period. Georgia had the football. Like these dudes have not had a break. And so yeah, you may be onto something with that one. I don't know. That's what you're supposed to have.
You're being weary because we haven't shown that we can even do that. So
Yeah.
I'm not mad at your point either. My thought is this is more of a hope-based strategy in that regard for me. Lando, you good to bring you back on, man? I can't see him. All right, here he is. All right. Before we keep going, guys, let's hear a word from Academy. They got some awesome stuff for y'all for Christmas. The holiday season is here, and Academy Sports and Outdoors has the legendary gifts you need at undefeatable prices every single day. Shop in store or online at academy.com to save on gifts on everybody's list, from football jerseys and basketball hoops to fire pits and deer stands. The most wonderful time of the year happens here. This Christmas, give the gift of fun from Academy Sports and Outdoors. Turkey fryers, man. Some high-risk stuff. I always watch the YouTube videos of where that goes horrifically wrong. But Academy, I have my half marathon on December 14th, so I had to get me some new running shoes. So I appreciate you, Academy, for everything you guys do. All righty, y'all. Control the clock. Can we even do that? We'll see. Good point, Coach. But if we can, let's do it.
You can control the clock by just simply not going 3 and out. You can sustaining drives, however that looks like for you, whatever is your most successful philosophy, which in Texas's case, as many of us are well aware at this point, mix in some tempo, mix in some spread, have 3 and 4 receivers on the field and get the ball out quickly. Let the boys go make plays in space for you. That's a good way to control the game right there. Just do what you do best and stay on the field offensively, and everything should work out fine.
Yeah. Convert in the red zone. Arkansas 110th in red zone defense. Texas has improved from, they used to be like 110th. Let's see where they're at. This is relative improvement, guys. We are 83rd now, but it's better than 110th. And that's how I knew we weren't going to win last year whenever we were playing like Ohio State. I'm like, no good team has these numbers. Yeah. So that's a big factor.
Really good question up here, Homer. If you want to take a second to respond to Robert, I think that's worth mentioning for sure.
All right, the one that starts with saying Homer.
Yes, sir.
Homer, you stated earlier that you could tell if Texas would be better next year. Are your thought process? Would that be Texas getting a true offensive coordinator such as Joel Gordon or Weiss? So I'm on the I want an offensive coordinator side of the argument, and I took my lashings for that. Now, people are like, well, and there's two halves to this argument. I'm a purist. I want an offensive coordinator because I don't think Sark's elite at offensive coordination. Whoa, Homer, what do you mean? A lot of people have said that on the internet that he is. We haven't had a top 15 offense in 5 years. Our third downs are perpetual and awful. And if you're in third down a lot, what does that mean, fellas? You're not executing on first and second down. So if you're not calling a good offense on first and second down, well, that's already 2/3 of what an offense is. And then on third downs, you don't have a great completion rate. So you're not even doing it on third downs. You can't run. You can't score in the red zone. I don't care how good a screen looks when you draw it up. I don't care that coaching Twitter likes your design. I care about effective coordinators that move the ball up and down the field, that have high success rates, that take what you give them, that are not stubborn with personnel packages and sticking to game plans that aren't working. That's why I want an offensive coordinator, not because he needs to be a head coach. That's a side benefit for me. I would like him to be better at the head-to-head versus Ryan Day versus Kirby, because we are getting beat there too. But I can't – elite is as elite does, man, and your numbers better be elite or you're not elite to me. And so that's why I need an offensive coordinator. Now, do I think I'll get that? Absolutely not.
There you go. I was about to say there's a punchline here. Yeah.
So you can't do that, right? Sark sees himself with the Shanahans and the McVays of the NFL, right? That's a personal identity that he feels about himself. There's no way in hell Sark can give up that calling card and then turn around and go to the NFL, because he's not a beat you head coach. He's not winning the head coaching matchups. Why you're getting hired to the NFL for Sark would be your design. He just politically cannot give that up. It affects his future job opportunities. So what are some solutions? You can have a philosophical change, which we've seen a little bit this year, right? Spreading it out more, tempo, that kind of stuff. You can quietly let Milwee handle some more of this. And they're like, well, if it's just the same offense, you'll get the same results. And the example I give is like this piano, right? We're all playing the same notes. Guess how many songs from the same notes here? Sark has a huge playbook.
Right.
So if someone else is calling it, it doesn't mean you're going to get the same results. He might call it at different times. He might be better on first down, so third down looks better. Those are options that I think
that's
are
that's a fantastic analogy, by the way.
That's what it is. So it's like, and Sark's playbook is wide. It's not a narrow veer and shoot offense. We run 2 runs and we run 2 passes. So you can pick and choose from different ingredients and make different dishes.
Yep.
So I think that's probably the practical thing there. But as far as, I mean, I know how we're going to do in the offseason is coaching changes that I don't like to say by name, but y'all know who we think should go. Right. And then portal in the right spots, and then do everything you can to benefit Arch. Like I said, if we're still playing the projection game, like Wingo should be better next year. Well, we said that about Wingo this year and it didn't happen. You need an answer to what if it doesn't. You need fail safes. You need backups. You need guys that you know are proven. So if I hear a bunch of projection, we like the young guys stuff, or quote unquote, they're leaders in the room, then it's not going to work. You got to do what Ohio State did, and Arch is showing that he's becoming a really good quarterback. Go all in, man.
Yes.
That's what you have to do. And
I mean, think about how deeply invested they are up until this point in general with this quarterback and this set of surrounding, talent and personnel, just everything that they've invested. In a lot of ways, it's been this is it, and Arch even waited 2 years, not 1 year, 2 behind Quinn to see this through. And part of what Sark is, his system being the multiple pro style system that it is, and it's being sort of known for its ability to develop quarterbacks to make them NFL ready, is because they have to understand, they have to process a ton of different personnel groupings, a ton of different schematical nuances, and then a ton of different tendencies from within each of those different sets, right? They're gonna be multiple with their personnel, with their formations, and with their philosophy. And like Homer mentioned a second ago with the analogy with the piano, it's a wide book, but there's a bunch of little different buttons that somebody else could potentially press from within the system and make it a little bit more harmonious, to make it work better. So
I think this is why you always have to recruit very well each and every year. You see one iffy cycle or 2 iffy cycles, this is the result. You got a lot of kids who sometimes, let's be honest, a lot of kids are born with it. They just need to get a little stronger, a little faster, whatever the case, and learn football more. Their DNA makes them good football players.
Genetics like 90% of what's going on there.
So when your evaluations are bad, a lot of players really can't play at this level, and you took them, they were takes. And I know everybody looks at the rankings and all that. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Like sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But if a kid can really play, you're going to get the results. I'm not saying everybody can be Kelvin Banks. Everybody's not going to be Colin Simmons, but you can kind of see a level line of play of who kids can be ready, who can play, who cannot play. I think we took a lot of bad takes, a lot of bad evaluations because you were so good everywhere else. Oh, if I missed up, I can just go to the portal. And you didn't do that this past year. You didn't cover your deficiencies in the portal. Now this is kind of the result. Even in a year, so quote unquote down year, right? 3 losses, but which could be more. Still, I think you missed that talent gap because you didn't take advantage of just one cycle of taking care of all your needs like you should have.
Yep. And then on the ego of just like, we'll get them ready. Hey, man, don't get it twisted. It's not your system at Texas. It has been athletes.
Right.
It's been athletes. As soon as coaches start thinking they got the magic system, this is exactly what happens. And so it's about players, man. And you got to get players, and the great teams get players. Now you can give them the physicality, you can give them the discipline, but Georgia still has players. Ohio State still has players, and that's what you got to have, man. That's the biggest thing. And then my big key is actually take advantage of facing a bad defense. We've played bad defenses several times this year. Texas gets in its own ways, whether it's penalties, a stubborn personnel grouping that's not working, a play style that's not working. Texas's success is rarely tied to the opponent like it is for most teams. So you're facing a bad Arkansas defense. I don't want to see them. I don't want to hear, well, Texas is their Super Bowl. It's like we hear that they're going to come correct. It's a rivalry game. We know that. But reality is this is one of the worst defenses. And so make them look like that, man. Don't have a frustrating game or, man, Arkansas really came to play. I'm tired of hearing about everyone coming to play versus Texas. We know that. Yeah. So make a bad defense look like a bad defense. What do y'all think?
Totally agree. Like, what's the worst defense we faced? Sam Houston State? Like, we made them look bad. Like, I'm not saying Arkansas is them, but I mean, look, they're pretty bad too. So, yeah, you got to make them look bad. You got to take advantage of all their weaknesses and attack them if you can and make them pay. So I think you have to make a bad team look bad. I don't care who their opponent is. If they're bad at something, expose that weakness and attack it all day. If you can't do that, then we got a bigger problem.
Yeah. Any final thoughts, gentlemen, before we go see the matchup?
I put mine in the chat, but I'll just reiterate it here. Play 4 quarters. The last 2 games in the fourth quarter, Texas has been outscored 42-0. Unacceptable. That is effort in some cases. That is abandoning what got you the significant lead in the case of the Vanderbilt outcome in the first place, heading into that fourth quarter. A bend but don't break type of approach, or a sagging off approach, or a prevent approach, whatever the case, right? And even like we had the discussion earlier, muck rushing, when you're not intentionally trying to pressure, that in my head, man, it's so often, especially at the college level, it cultivates and permeates subconsciously or otherwise a lackadaisical effort. You just have a tendency to fall into lazy when that is your particular call. Yeah. Right? And so some of that is in play here. Effort from the players, the personnel on the field, is also in play here. Hopefully they learn from that, and hopefully they're taking, once again, that's why I mentioned at the beginning of this program here, effort. Part of that is not getting outscored 21-0 in 2 consecutive weeks in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. Someone says we haven't played 4 quarters all year. Man, we haven't really played 4 quarters all 5 years. This is a thing. Like, we as fans think it's normal for a team not to score for a quarter and a half every game. It's not normal. It's weird, and it's psychologically weird. And so they need to figure that out, because it's been 5 years of Texas gets up by 20 in the first half, and then for some reason the second half nothing happens. That's a huge thing for me, 1,000%. And this is also something I've harped on. People are saying, you win these next 2 games, you have a chance at a playoff. That's not even true. You have to blow out these. You got to
win convincingly.
Yeah, it's like that. You have to win by like 20 points in both games to have a chance at a playoff. Winning is not enough. So it's like I need to see actual going hard. And the times I've seen Sark do it was to get into the playoffs 2 years ago. Texas Tech got murdered, and then we murdered Oklahoma State. But that's the only time I've seen Sark really go. Maybe even the Florida game last year. But these are such rare instances. But it's like winning is not even enough. We need to see competence and domination. That's the only way you get in the playoffs. And so we got to see that. So I don't want this like win by 1 versus Arkansas. Tough team. It's a rivalry. I ain't hearing none of that post game. Like, you better win, and you better win convincingly, because Arkansas is coming to play. And they got nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose, but they bring nothing to lose, everything to gain. But in this game in particular, man, it's a historical matchup.
Yep,
it matters to them. They bring it every single time in any sport. You go watch Arkansas and Texas play in Arlington at Globe Life when they do that, whatever that tournament's called, where they bring 8 teams in from around the country, whatever. You get invited. It's that invitation classic that they do over there at the ballpark in Arlington, or Globe Life Field now. But man, them Arkansas fans, they show up, and there's more red in the stands than there is burnt orange in those baseball games. And there is passion, man. I'm telling you, it matters to them. So You better bring it because they're going to, no matter what. 2 wins don't that 2-win record don't mean nothing.
Yep. 100%. All right, let's go watch this game. Let's go get the dub, and let's do it in respectable fashion. This was the pregame show. And, of course, join us for the postgame show. As soon as the game is over, we will be back on to talk about what we saw. And this was brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Hook 'em, everybody.
Hook 'em.
See you in a little bit. Later.